know, your ass better call somebody.
Welcome to the latest episode of Too Boldly Pod. You all know what this podcast about. As you can see, my ugly mug isn't the only mug that's on the screen for this episode. I'm joined by, well, in the famous words of Mean Gene Oakland, my longtime close personal friend, one Paul Canellis.
Yay!
Did I forget anything there?
No, that was great.
I don't know why that the whole Mean Gene longtime close personal thing always cracked me up when I was a kid, but it did.
It's gold, and Mean Gene was gold.
Yes, he was. What we're going to talk about today is with the inclusion of one of our favorite tag teams of all time, Demolition, finally being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. We thought we would do a Mount Rushmore of tag teams.
Yeah.
So let's start off talking a little bit about Demolition. So Paul, take it away.
Okay. So yeah, as a kid, Demolition was everything to me. Like, I know that sounds funny. It was Macho Man, Bret Hart, Demolition. That was my guys, you know. And me and my buddy Joe, we used to dress up like them. We did the makeup and everything, and we hit their finisher on neighbor kids, and we terrorized everybody. We didn't hurt anybody, but yeah, Axe and Smash. I liked Crush too, but I always loved those guys. I just loved their energy. Their energy was really spoke to me as a kid. And I also disliked the Legion of Doom comparisons, the Road Warriors. Obviously, in my heart, I knew, but, you know, I didn't go for it. I always thought, they would kick Legion of Doom's butts, you know, because I loved them. But yeah, that was my kind of early recollections. And I love their song. Come on, their song right off the bat. You're
Right.
a kid hearing that, you're in. They're superheroes.
Yes,
You know?
They were outside of the Hart Foundation and another group we're going to talk about shortly. They were my tag team back in the 80s. That was
Yeah.
And so which one were you Axe or Smash when you dressed up?
Oh, Smash always. Always Smash. That was my guy. I actually loved every iteration, you know, of Smash.
Crusher Crew stuff?
Yep, all of them. Every single one. All the goofy ones.
Repo Man?
Repo Man all day. I just love that guy. I love Barry. I just latched onto him as a kid, you know, and it stayed with me the whole time. I still love him. I got to meet him a couple years ago, and they were just so sweet.
Oh, that's cool. I've been watching the old Mid-South episodes on YouTube lately, so I'm getting all those early Barry Darso.
Yeah. I had to go back, you know, for all that. I watched some territory stuff as a kid, but I didn't have access to much. So I had to go back and watch all the older Barry stuff, you know, and just love every incarnation, even Repo Man.
That's why YouTube is awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get started with this little Mount Rushmore. I'll let you start off with your first face on the mountainside.
Okay. I think this is one we heavily agree on, and I kind of played my cards early, but the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation, that's my tag team, you know, that's the dynamic. You got Bret, who's technical, you know, just super believable. And then you got Neidhart coming in and laying the smack it down, you know, as they say, and the big guy. I thought Bret was the coolest dude. I'm always surprised when everybody's like, oh, Bret didn't have charisma. I'm like, what? I wanted to be Bret, you know?
Yeah,
but Hart Foundation, yeah, all day.
Well, that's one that's also on mine, so we are in agreement there because they were in the 80s. Outside of another group I'm going to mention, they were
Yep.
the cream of the crop. So I'll
Yep.
start differently then, since that's going to be one of mine. I will start with my other 80s, and it's the one that actually the first I watched wrestling in the 70s with my dad, but I didn't really pay attention.
Right.
It wasn't until the WWF explosion in the 80s when I really took off. And the first tag team was the Dream Team.
Oh,
Loved the Dream Team,
hell yeah.
specifically Greg the Hammer Valentine,
Yeah.
because I think out of all the wrestlers, well, there's one other one I'll talk about in a minute. Greg Valentine does not get the respect that he is due for everything that he has done in professional wrestling.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
And other than Ric Flair, who had a better face plant than Greg Valentine ever did.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. No one's more memorable. Nobody. I love Greg. And that tag team, they actually did win the belts.
Yes, they lost the belts to the British Bulldogs in WrestleMania 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
With
Yeah,
with Ozzy and confusing Kathy Lee Crosby for some reason doing the post interview.
yeah. Well, yeah, what was going on there? Yeah. No, that's a fun pick. I held one of those tag belts. This won't be a whole thing of me going, yes, I've met Greg, but I have. I've met both of them. And he was funny because he was grumpy, but he was nice.
Right.
And I held the belt. You know, he had brought a couple belts with him. And but he was super cool. Stood there and talked to us for a while, even though we weren't buying anything, which I thought was cool. And like you said, the best, I mean, not just the best face plant, he just sold well all around. You know, underrated as hell. I agree with that 100%. And that's a fun pick because I would have never thought of that.
Right. You had Beefcake cut your hair, didn't you?
I did. I was going to bring that up. I didn't know you wanted me to, but yeah. Actually, Beefcake cut my hair twice now. I saw him again. I saw him again in Indiana, and we walked into the room, and he looked up at me and smiled that he did one of these things. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing it again. But everybody was with me, and they're all like, come on, he's your barber. I'm like, you know what? That is pretty legendary. So, yeah, I'm going to do it. And yeah, he cut my hair a couple times. It was so cool. Every time I walked by the table the first time, he was going, hey, get over here. Get over here. Let's look at your hair. Get over here. I'm like, no.
I know we've talked before. Did you go to WrestleMania 3?
No, I didn't get to. Nope, okay. I did not. I stayed home and bummed out. I was refreshing ESPN, looking for match updates. Yeah, I was so bummed. But I mostly cared about Macho and Steamboat, you know.
Right. Oh, I just asked because that's when he turned and technically became the Barbers.
Right.
When he got kicked out of the Dream Team for, Dino Bravo and all of his backstage should I say this on the air or not? His backstage steroid selling and whatnot that he did.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
I mean, the facts are the facts. The facts are the facts.
Okay, so my second one was the Hart Foundation. We covered that. What's your second one?
My second one, I had a hard time with this because I have like 6 and I want them all up there. But my second one is Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan, Cornette, Midnight Express. I mean, you can't go wrong. They were so entertaining, so good technically, all solid workers, even Loverboy, who just passed away a little bit ago here. And I just love Midnight Express. I'll watch any matches.
They're actually my favorite tag team of all time.
Really?
And, yes.
I'm getting no pushback on that.
No, they're my number one on my Mount Rushmore. And like you said, you can go Stan Lane or you can go Dennis Condrey, either one.
Yep.
Bobby Eaton, and I said this a minute ago about Greg Valentine. That dude is the single most underrated wrestler of all time.
My
If
gosh.
if he had any mic skills, he could have been a huge star.
Yeah.
Because
And luckily they didn't need that because they had Cornette.
no,
But yeah, I mean, geez, that guy could talk. Um, yeah, I agree, man. He was. Yeah, you've nailed two very underrated wrestlers. But anyone would argue for Beautiful Bobby. I think anyone that knows wrestling at all would
and
say underrated.
and everything you heard, he was like the nicest guy in the world. That
Right.
would have like stuff on the road if people needed it, and it's like he would
Yep.
lend them towels or whatever, and it's like, how much would
Wow.
you see that in today's world?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Or in the rest of that time period where it was like a lot more dog eat dog even.
right, exactly. And
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad in the 90s when there was a shift and he got ushered into that whole Steven Regal
Yeah.
blue bloods thing, and
Yeah.
he was still good, but it's like
Yeah.
people
It's
forgot
still
how good Bobby Eaton was.
yeah, and it did feel a little sad, I think. But
Yep.
what was it for you? What's the thing that, you would say that's my favorite? Is it just the pure entertainment value?
He was so athletic before people did all of that stuff, like the top
Right.
rope and every. I mean, you had Jimmy Snuka and people like that, but when you had tag teams, you didn't have people like Bobby Eaton, jumping off the top rope and all those damn scaffold matches they did
Oh
in
my God. Yeah.
the.
Oh man. You felt I always sort of felt like, oh, these guys are a little bit real. Do you know what
Right?
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like kind of you're in a thing when you're younger where you're like, wrestling's kind of real, right? And these guys are like, oh, they're real. This is actually a thing that's happening. They're kicking someone's butt or getting their butts kicked because they were all good sellers.
Yeah, I'm curious whether either one of us is going to say they're biggest rivals at all,
Um,
being the Rock and Roll Express.
right, right. They would be one that I would have on the outskirts, but very high up
And
because they are the rivals.
right, and you really can't have the Midnight Express without the Rock and Roll Express.
Yep, yep. I remember when they had that little comeback and they were feuding with the Rock and Roll Express, and Rock and Roll Express wasn't even signed. I can't remember where it was at, but because this was so long ago. But the crowd, the whole time Midnight's out there, the crowd is just going rock and roll, rock and roll. And you're like, wow, they were over. They were so over.
When was it that was it the late 80s or early 90s where they brought the original Rock and Roll or Midnight Express back with, and I'm trying to remember now. I know it was in WCW,
Yeah, it was
but
WCW
it
for
was
sure.
Dennis Condrey, and I'm forgetting his original partner. But
Um, yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it as well.
because it was
But
Paul E brought him in, if I
yep,
remember
yep,
right.
yep, he did. Yeah, and it was definitely WCW. I think it was the early '90s.
Right. But
Could be off of that.
it could also been the whole Smoky Mountain angle that they did in WWF in the mid 90s when Vince was
Yeah.
trying
Oops.
to.
Car lights went out. Yeah, yeah. I remember that as well. In retrospect, because I went back and had to watch so much midnight stuff. As a kid, I was kind of against WCW, and then as it hit the '90s, all I cared about was WCW.
Right.
So, like, I have to go back and check out the lore. I have to, because the only lore I would have read was in magazines, which I had a bunch of, but I never seen these guys wrestle. And when I did, I was like, whoa, that is the rivalry. Midnights and rock and roll. Well, that's legendary.
Well, on the side note, we'll still have to put a shoehorn in to come back on some point and do the Monday Night Wars episode we talked about a couple of years ago.
I would love that.
Probably be like a 2 hour podcast.
Probably. That's my very favorite time in wrestling. Loved it.
I can admit that I would record one and watch the other one, and then.
Same here. Yep.
Okay, which one did you record?
Yep. Oh, I watched Nitro live, and I would catch up on Raw. Yeah.
The exact same thing I did too.
Yep.
Okay, I don't want to get too sidetracked.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
Okay, my next one is we had talked about people doing rope work and things of that nature, highly athletic people. And again, it's kind of the way the Hart Foundation and tag teams like that worked is the British Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I love the Bulldogs. I love their rivalry with the Harts. It's probably my favorite feud. When they're stealing Matilda and all that stuff was going on, I bought hook, line, and sinker into that. Loved watching Dynamite work because he was just, man, he was something else, at a time where, like you said, that wasn't a thing that everyone was doing.
Right.
There was a couple guys. Yeah. And then you had Bulldog. And as he got bigger, he got scarier. He got meaner. He looked like, him and Neidhart could go at it for a while. You know what I mean? I always loved the Bulldogs, even though the rumor is that Bulldog, I call him Bulldog, but the rumor is that he wasn't as technically sound as Dynamite. But who is, Brett, you know what I mean? So I forgive that. You can have the bigs.
I think Dynamite would have been another one of those wrestlers if his attitude, which everything I read about, if he wouldn't have had that, he could have been a lot bigger than he was. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, because he had everything. But also, you hear all these horror stories about receipts and just slaughtering people and backstage fights and all that stuff.
The whole Jacques Rougeau story, which
my God.
I still don't know if we got that actual story because you hear 15 different stories from people.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's that lore is crazy.
Actually,
but I love the Bulldogs.
The Rougeaus, for what they weren't a bad team.
Not at all.
Much better as, bad guys than they were when they came in as, baby faces, but
yeah.
The next
they got the job done.
Yes, they did. And I think they served their purpose. And I
did.
Real quickly thought about Rhythm and Blues for a second when we were talking about it.
Okay.
Putting Honky Tonk and Greg Valentine together.
It was pretty clever.
My next one's probably going to surprise you a little bit because I think it's in an age where tag teams kind of got shoved aside.
Okay.
And it's the New Age Outlaws.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that time, everyone was a singles wrestler. And
yep.
then here comes these two, which I have audio, which you couldn't hear, that I'll add to the post-production.
That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta have Road Dogg going,
Road
you
Dogg.
didn't know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they were solid as hell. I mean, they were very good. And I think part of it is the character work too, right? It's the mic work, obviously.
Right.
The character work, and they also had a good chemistry. So I think that's a fun pick. Yeah.
And it was good being part of the Attitude Era where you could take Billy Gunn and turn him into Mr. Ass. And
Yep. So what do you think about
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you think about his kids there, the Guns?
I'm glad they didn't do a whole Billy and Bart rehash with those two.
Yeah. Yeah, me
Be-
too.
because I remember
I think they got some skills.
oh, absolutely. The smoking gun era
Yeah,
was
yeah.
at a point when WWF was really searching for what they were, and
Yeah. That didn't work very well.
no, and it was a great change for, you know, for him to join
Yeah,
the DX / New Age Outlaws.
absolutely. Yeah. But those two in particular, the New Age Outlaws, that's a good pick. And you're right, it did surprise me a little, but then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that makes sense. Because there's honestly like, I had to whittle this down from like 20 teams. So yeah, they fit. That's a good pick.
I kept throwing groups out that I'm like, nah,
Right,
and
right.
I might end up using them by the end of this because we've been in lockstep on most of them. But
Yep.
what's your next one?
All right. So the fact that we kind of were doing this because of Demolition, um, I probably normally would have said Demolition, and I I know that everybody will say Road Warriors. A lot of people would say Road Warriors over Demolition, but I'll say the one that I had next up on the list because I have like six. Picked a couple of standbys, and this one might surprise you, but it would be the Outsiders.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, I mean, again, it's Showtime. It's the charisma, it's the mic work. Scott Hall was very, very good in ring, and to me, Nash was a great bully. He was a great giant in the WCW years in particular. If you got hit with that jackknife, you were done.
oh
And I always
absolutely.
liked that kind of I always liked that kind of stuff. And they looked so cool together. And as a teenager, I'm like, yeah, NWO, baby. Yeah. So that I would probably go Outsiders, which I feel like would be a minority pick, but a lot of people wouldn't want to choose them.
That was so brilliant. That first month or so
My God.
when it was just those two, it
Yep.
was. I mean,
Man,
they definitely hit it out of the park. So
they did. I mean, that's really what got me back into wrestling. I had taken some years off, and someone told me Macho Man went to WCW, and I'm like, he did. And then I was there in time for Bash at the Beach. I saw you know, the whole invasion with Nash and Hall coming in, and I was just like, every week I'm in, So it was the same as it was when I was a kid. I'm
right.
back in. I'm watching it every week again, to my girlfriend's dismay.
That's actually kind of similar to me too, because I think I got Hogan fatigue is what it was.
Same.
And I kind of got out of it. As much as I loved Mr. Perfect and Brett
Yeah.
and all of those
Yeah.
guys, it's like he keeps pushing Hogan. And it was the whole
Yeah.
WrestleMania 9 did it for me.
Yep.
When
That's it.
the actual screw job of Bret Hart.
Oh,
Let's have you lose to Yokozuna, which is fine,
fine.
but
Yep.
we'll have Hogan come out and squash him in 30 seconds.
Made no sense
No.
and just buried Brett. It was terrible.
And
Yeah, I hated that.
and speaking of stories, we'll never get the conclusion about where that black eye actually came from. Looking at
Oh,
you.
yeah. I'm sticking to it.
All right, since you're going off script on yours, I'm going to throw out a deep cut.
Okay.
One for the ladies out here.
Uh-oh.
The Jumpin' Bomb Angels.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
The,
That
the,
is a deep cut.
the greatest women's tag team I have ever seen in my entire life.
All right.
To this day.
I love it.
In WrestleMania, was it 4 and 5, I think?
Mhm.
they were doing stuff the men didn't do back then.
They were.
So,
They were. And WrestleMania 4 is my all-time favorite WrestleMania. I know it's much maligned, but Macho gets the belt.
right.
So, yeah, they were at a different level. You're right. They were some of the only female wrestlers of that era, really. That, and then after that, there's none for quite a few years in WWE,
Right.
WWF. Yeah. I love that pick. That's super cool.
I mean, go back and watch those matches, and it's like the other women didn't even know
Yeah.
how to compete with them. It's like
Right.
the rest of them are just doing hair beals and everything, and these
Yep.
two are like flying scissors off the top rope and
They're executing actual tag moves together.
right.
It's not like, it's not like one was doing all the work. They're doing tag team moves. It felt like a tag team, which is something that's missing, I think, a lot of times, even today.
You're more up on today's than I am, so.
Well, I think there's a lot of good tag teams today, but kind of the feuds are shaky, so you don't get anything that sticks as much. But there are a lot of good tag teams. I mean, like FTR is amazing, and there's I've always liked the New Day. A lot of people don't like them, but I like their chemistry and their characters. They're also great on the mic, but there's a lot of good ones still. I don't think there's any that I would move towards Mount Rushmore, but give it time, I guess.
Now there is one that we haven't mentioned yet that somebody, when I mentioned we were going to record this, said they went to school with them, and that's the Steiner brothers.
Oh shit! You know what? Man, they could be up there. They are magnificent. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, when did any of us not living in Mexico ever see a Frankensteiner or a
Right.
Hurricane Rana before Scott Steiner did it?
Yeah, and he did it with all that muscle.
Right.
I mean, he was never small.
No.
Yeah, that's characters, in-ring work. The promos were always entertaining.
Right.
They got more entertaining as Scotty got the mic more often. But they were solid, very solid. Yeah, I couldn't argue too hard against that.
Not at all. Do you have another one on your list, or was that?
Yeah, I would have to give it and say the Road Warriors, would kind of be, it would round it out. Because even though they weren't like my personal favorite, they legitimized tag team a little bit, because everything they did kind of seem a little real, probably because they were just throwing potatoes, it was a little real, but they did that. They had the superhero bit. They capture your imagination, and they had some great feuds. So I couldn't in good conscience not really go into detail on the Road Warriors. But I'm sure we've left off 12 other great ones.
I was just going to ask you in closing, do you have any underrated ones that weren't quite Mount Rushmore, but you really like them?
Yeah. I have some that I have one that everybody would probably laugh at, and I don't even know why I love them. But do you remember when Paul Roma and Jim Powers were together?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a long run together, but there was just something about them that I always dug, Of course, they wouldn't be anywhere near Mount Rushmore. And Arn and Tully.
Oh, absolutely.
That's, that has to be somebody that gets mentioned.
Actually,
they were magnificent.
You mentioned Roma. I was going to mention Roma and Hercules.
Yeah.
And I'm mental blocking on what their name.
It probably is the better.
Power and Glory. That's what they were.
Power
right?
and Glory.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yep.
But Arn and Tully's a good one.
That
too.
probably was. Yeah. Yeah. Arn and Tully's probably more legit on being closer to the Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
What about somebody like the Dudleys or the Hardys?
oh,
Like, I mean,
Edge and
they,
Christian.
Edge and Christian, yeah, yeah. All teams that were worthy and had super fun, memorable feuds. I think that has a Harlem Heat is
Oh
one
yeah. See, I always
I
think
always liked Harlem Heat.
I loved Harlem Heat, but it was the whole once, five time, five time. Sorry,
Yeah,
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 I'm
yeah.
I- I'm getting sidetracked here
Right,
with
right.
with
No,
with
you're right.
with Booker T, but
Yeah, yeah. And that was a tag team they were a little different because Booker was clearly superior in the ring, but I always thought that Stevie had enough of a intimidating look
oh, absolutely.
to get him through, and make it a believable, good, solid tag team. I always liked them too.
I
Um,
cannot argue with that one whatsoever.
yeah, and the Mega Powers. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, back in the Hogan's 3 move days.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, that guy.
I
He
try not
literally drove us to WCW.
I try not to pan on him because I know how important he was to the industry.
Absolutely.
And if you go back and watch his early stuff, he could actually wrestle.
He could.
It was just later on in life he didn't.
Yeah. I liked the Hollywood stuff. I liked the heel work. I thought he was pretty good at that. Of course, he had all those charismatic dudes around him to kind of carry him through. But yeah, I mean, yeah. But as a tag team, obviously, just kidding. I'll say one thing for Hogan is that I don't know if I would love Macho Man as much as I do without Hogan frustrating me so much. Like, I need Macho Man to get this belt so bad because I don't like Hogan.
Well, just think about the 80s.
Yeah.
Hogan, I give all the credit to Hogan and Vince and 1/3 uh to other people, but without him, without say King Kong Bundy, without Andre,
Andre. Yeah.
without Macho Man,
Iron Sheik.
right? He
Yep.
wouldn't have been what he was. So
No, he wouldn't have. No, you need formidable bad guys. Yeah. And I think he did become a good bad guy. I way like the Hollywood run more than the original, just because he's a bad guy, and I can boo him.
well, I think we've talked before about how much I was more of a heel fan than
Yeah.
quote good guy,
Yeah.
baby face, whatever phrase you want to use. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I
My
think
wife is almost exclusively a heel. She roots for heels almost exclusively, which I find hilarious.
so. What do you think of Rude then? Well, I'm getting sidetracked, but
Oh, I really liked Rude, man. I think he was probably another one in the underrated column. All in all, uh, I liked it. I liked him. I mean, his look. Obviously, he looked like $1,000,000. He looked great, and he had that trolling character, like that guy. Oh, he had me wanting to punch my TV as a kid so much, which means I got worked.
right.
And he was really good in ring. I think underrated in the ring. I really liked Rude. I kind of always wanted him to get the belt. He was one of the guys I always kind of wished could get the belt. Have a little heel run, troll all the good guys.
I just figured
But
because I know you were a an Ultimate Warrior fan, so that whole
well, Warrior, I wasn't really a big fan of Warrior, but I did like his presence. You know what I mean? Like
right.
he had a good presence. Obviously he wasn't a very good worker, but he did have energy. He had presence. That was my buddy's favorite. And so we were always like wanting him and Macho Man to team up. And I think Macho Man pulled his best match out of him. But yeah, I'm not really a huge Warrior fan, but I did like Rick Rude a lot.
Okay, here's what I want you to do next time you make a video.
Okay.
You got to put 2 sets of tights on,
Yeah.
and then you got to climb on the top rope and then pull your top tights down and have Cheryl Roberts on your.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. So funny. Oh man. That's funny. What a troll.
Yes. And then it got even better with Bobby. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did we learn? The greatest tag team of all time, according to us, is either the Midnight Express or the Hart Foundation.
Or the Hearts. Yeah. Yeah. And you can flip a coin, really. I would go either one, Yeah.
Because my other 2 were Dream Team and New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, which are great picks. Underrated, fun picks.
Right.
And I had what I have on the second one. I didn't put Demolition in the deal. No. I had the Outsiders. Yeah, right. I had the Outsiders. Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, I think that we learned that Mount Rushmore is not big enough for all the greatest tag teams.
No, we're gonna have to buy another mountain.
Right, put it next to it. We need 8. We need 8.
All right. Well, this has been fun, sir.
That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I am going to hold you to the comeback at a later time and talk about the Monday Night Wars.
I would literally love to do that. That's one of my favorite moments of wrestling to talk about. So, and like you said, that could wind up being a long one.
Yeah, that's all right. I can break it up into chapters.
Awesome.
Anything you want to pimp about your professional life before I let you go?
We do have a podcast. We have 2 podcasts. They're wrestling podcasts on YouTube. One is the 2 Genettis. And it's a pretty fun concept where we go in, one of them knows the topic and one of us doesn't. So we go in kind of and just hope to have the knowledge to keep up with the topic. And that's pretty fun. We do that pretty much every week. And then I have a podcast with my girls called Body Slam and Banters with my daughters. And that one's really fun. It's just a quick little 10, 15-minute thing that we do every couple weeks.
Available everywhere?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I would like to pimp my band, Not a Cult, because we have a single out for the horror movie Ouija Slumber Party. And it's doing kind of fun. It's kind of good. We got vinyl out and everything for it.
Hey, don't you?
And I do a radio show. I always plug it. Blank Generation with Uncle Salem. And that runs on Spock Rock Radio Saturdays.
I heard the guy that runs that station's an ass.
Oh, really? That hasn't been my experience at all. I'll have to defend that guy. I think he's pretty damn cool. And he's got a lot of great wrestling knowledge, which even puts it up even more.
I try.
If you know a ton about wrestling and music, we can be buddies,
I think we've established we can be buddies, so.
Absolutely.
You said your other podcast, the 2 Genettis, and we didn't mention the Rockers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always hated them.
I did too.
I never liked them.
I was never a Shawn Michaels fan. I loved what he could do in the ring, but I never liked Shawn Michaels. So
same here. Same here. It's probably one of those things like with Hogan and Macho. It's another huge reason why I'm such a Bret guy. Because I'm like, I do not like Shawn Michaels. I mean, I like him now, but I didn't like him back in the day. I like him now running NXT. That's about, the extent of it.
Did you like DX?
Kinda. I felt like they were just trying to kind of rip off the NWO a little bit at first. But, I mean, yeah, they won me over a little bit.
I mean,
because they're funny.
I love Triple H, and I always will.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Triple H is great. No doubt.
All right. Well,
All right.
You're probably freezing in the car, so I appreciate it, sir.
No problem. That was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and I will let you know when this publishes.
Sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
Talk to you
Have
later.
a good night.
See ya.
All right.
Well, I want to thank Paul for taking the time out of his busy schedule to join me here on this episode of Too Boldly Pod. As you can see, we weren't able to conclusively come with a Mount Rushmore, but we did have a few in common, so I think that should count. I think we all realized that the two greatest tag teams of all time are without question the Midnight Express and the Hart Foundation, as they should be the two greatest tag teams of all time. But it wouldn't be this episode without giving credence and a tip of the hat to Demolition, because they are one of the most seminal tag teams of all time. So thank you very much, Paul. Check out all the great podcasts, and It's Not a Cult, and even that radio show he does on Spock Rock Radio. He really is a great guy and a good friend of mine. So thank you very much. As usual, I don't have a closer for this podcast, so I'll just simply close with, "What you gonna do, brother?" Or something like that.
Can you dig it, sucker?